I know yesterday I talked about opinions that I don't care about your opinions, including my own. And that is still true if the opinion comes from my mind or if I sense it coming from somebody's mind and it does not resonate with me. I'm fine people having their opinions as long as I don't have to necessarily engage with them if it's kind of outside of my way of engaging, which is I like to meet people like I talked about. But today I'm going to talk about that the world is probably not going to change unless we stop engaging in it from an emotional attachment level. I don't want to include passion in that because when I get my downloads and when I feel it's coming from deep inside of my soul as a super clarity, it's almost like, of course, this is true. And that it can certainly come with a passion when I want to share it because it feels so alive in me. It feels so real. It feels so empowering in a way from a really deep felt sense. So forgive me for sharing my opinion today, if that is how it is perceived. And it's kind of funny after I said what I did yesterday, but I also like that it's not all black and white. Life has its way and things come through. And if this doesn't resonate with you, of course, you can just scroll on. It's fine. But the way I see it and the way I keep sharing here is that the world we are seeing out there with our five senses, or we are experiencing it with our five senses, it is the overlay. It is the veil, the matrix, and it is happening in here. And the reason that it gets projected out, that it keeps reviving itself, is because we energetically engage in it from a place inside that is not coming from presence. I know when I'm resting in and as presence, there are no opinions. There's no real interest in engaging from that emotional or attachment level. So the more we do not engage, the more we say no to that, the more we are able to stay here in our light, in our presence, and then meet that matrix, that overlay, that projection is, or simulation. That's such a great word too. It's simulated, it's not real. And it needs us, it needs our energy, our emotional energy to keep it going. And what's happening in the world right now gives many, many people a lot of impetus and almost permission, maybe, to engage in it because everybody's doing it and everybody has their opinions and their viewpoints. And here it is, the whole matrix just doing its thing because we're all throwing our energy into it. So if you want to do that, that is fine. It's a matrix. It's not real. It's a dream. If you want to engage in that dream, if you still enjoy it, then by all means do it. But many times when we are so engaged in it, we want others to get engaged in it too, so we can really get into that energetic thing where we may feel connected, we feel more right, we feel more empowered. And that's the only reason it's happening out there. It's these hypnotic suggestions that come to us, they're right, they're wrong, they're bad, they're good. These are all suggestions. but we don't always see it. For the most part, we don't see it. Once you start waking up to seeing that, and you can just pause for a moment, if you get a suggestion from the news, from social media, YouTube, anywhere, if there is a suggestion for you to believe in something, pause. Pause is a really powerful thing. It gives you space to either engage or not engage. It gives you space to check in with yourself. Is this really what I want? For some people, it is. And that's how it is. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the dreams we're dreaming as long as we want that. I'm sure there's a reason that we live in this simulation. And I know there's many versions of it, why we are that. But I would say as long as you really want it, then do it and enjoy it. But if you pause, when you pause and just do a little check inside, is that really what I want? Then if you'd say, no, I'm done with that. It doesn't feed me anymore. It doesn't give me enjoyment. It doesn't make me feel more loving, more relaxed. I don't want to do that anymore. So that's why we need to kind of put out our hand and say, no, I don't want that. And when we say no many times, there's more suggestions and more reasons why you should engage. And that's why we need to find a very strong point in ourselves, the foundation of presence. And then we say it from there, and it comes with a power that actually starts dismantling this simulation, not because we're doing anything to get rid of it or fight it or fix it. It's just we meet it with presence. There might be some energy in there, some powerful energy. And it's just, you don't have to put your hand out, but you might just kind of in your mind imagine that for a moment. It's just when these things come, you need to vote for this person and not for that person. You need to take this medication and you should do this and that. These are the suggestions from the simulation, from the veil. They're suggestions. I would thank Joel Goldsmith till the end of my life for just having used those words. I've heard them for so many years, and they are so powerful. When you start seeing whatever comes to you through the news, from your friends, wherever, comes to your mind first, and then we can say yes or no to it. It's just a hypnotic suggestion. If you engage in it, then you are hypnotized. The matrix is hypnosis. We are programmed, we are dosed into believing something that is happening in our mind. So if you want to keep engaging in your mind, in the dream, in the simulation, in the overlay, that's fine. There is apparently still something in there that feels satisfying in one way or another. I do remember about myself that I found it satisfying to be able to argue because it gave me a sense of power that I didn't feel in my own self yet. It's almost like I needed somebody, to battle it out with for me to really feel my power. And luckily, I don't need that anymore. But I have a lot of understanding for that. We all go through the same thing. We all do. Unless you were born enlightened, you're probably able to skip all this stuff. But otherwise, there's all these steps and stages of our evolution. And I don't know if we can skip them. I think we can skip them partly as we start waking up. So if you're still engaging because you want to, then please do so. You do not need to convince anybody else that they should do the same. Why? Well, maybe because you want to feel power. That's usually why we want to duel it out with other people. But if you really feel done, then please start practicing saying no, thank you to all these suggestions. And when you do, you will probably experience a lot of this emotional attachment, a lot of this fire, like, and so it's going to come up, and it needs you. That's another hypnotic suggestion, by the way, through your emotions. It needs you and me to grab hold of it and move with it out in the world. And boom, think about all this energy, the emotional attachments, the anger, the fury, the righteousness. That's the energy that feeds the matrix. So important to know that. Oh my God, that has helped me so much over the years to start seeing it for what it is. Seeing it that it is the matrix, that's an hypnotic suggestion. That is all it is. It's not real. You can look it up what a suggestion is. It feels like something is being whispered behind your ear, and you have to say yes to it. So unless we stop engaging in the world, with the world, from an emotional attachment standpoint, not from a physical, that's fine. If we can find that engagement from a physical, grounded presence inside, you see, it's a very different energy you bring out there. And that's also why I think self-love is so important, because when we truly love ourselves, we are grounded in our own presence because we're not separating from it and then trying to get it out there because we're not being fed by it from in here. So these are all really important steps to learn how to disengage, how to say no, and then see what it's like. You can do it as a little experiment. You can say, okay, today I'm just going to not engage. If something comes in the news and it says this or that, I'm going to practice to stay present and not go like, wee. And then notice, because it's through doing this and noticing what happens that you'll see how attached you are to engaging, what part of you is being fed by it, and what is it that feels so good about it. These are all questions that we each and every one need to explore within ourselves in order to disengage, say stop, no thank you, no more, I want something else. And like I always say and suggest, to do that with other people is so much easier, because you can see like, oh my God, it's not just me doing this stuff. These people have the same issues, but then together we always come to some kind of resolution or clarity, how it is okay to say stop and no, and then instead connecting with what is so much more important. And that, of course, is what we long for in our hearts. And we all long for the same, more or less. So give it a try. It's a suggestion coming from me. You can accept it or reject it. It's totally up to you. There's no trying to convince anybody of anything. I may speak with passion because I feel passionate about it, but it's up to you what you feel passionate about, what you want to spend your precious energy for, and what you want to create in the world. So please give it a try. You have permission, if you need it, to just say, no, I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to feed that monster anymore. I want to feed my heart, and then see what happens.